Hello and happy Tuesday, everyone. This week I will be achieving enlightenment, whether you people like it or not. I will be doing exactly that. I have noticed in the distance there's some sort of tree-shaped object. I would like to see what it is. And in addition to seeking enlightenment, and achieving enlightenment, specifically in the span of this episode, acquiring enlightenment as though it were a possession that one could place in one's hand, quiveringly. My tea is, in fact, the correct temperature. It's not messing around. It's not messing with me. It's just a good temperature. My tea is the correct temperature for tea to be. And that's something to be grateful for. And, dear viewer, what do you have that you are grateful for? What do you have in your life that gives you joy? What do you have in your life that gives you joy? Whatever it is, I hope you remember it today. I hope you remember it, and I hope you cherish it, and I hope you hold it. I hope you smelled it very close to your chest, because everything in this world, everything in this life is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. No one lasts forever. People come and go, people grow, people change, people do all sorts of things. People do very silly things. People even eventually one day stop feeding their vital organs an appropriate level of oxygen. And we all one day go that way. We all eventually kick the primordial bucket. Primordial, prodromal, promelodial, one of those words, all of those words, multiple of those words, all of the above. Look at this pumpkin patch. Look at how many pumpkins. This is an insane number of pumpkins. This is almost difficult to believe number of pumpkins. The only thing is, well, I'm just hoping they're not making a dark sign, but I don't think they are. I think they're making just a good pumpkin collection. And then, I don't know what that is. Looks like there's some kind of light in the distance, There's more cherries over there. There's lots of places, This little area, I feel like, is a very good place to start building. And I think this episode, I'm going to just make a soft place to be. I've been traveling, I've been wandering a great deal in this series. I've been traveling from place to place. I've been really all over the map. And there's some places on that map I would like to return to, at some point in the not too distant future. But look, there's that tree that I saw in the distance. It seems I've misplaced somehow, gone in the wrong direction. I don't know how I did it that wrong, but I guess I did. Sometimes I zone out, sometimes I stop paying attention when I should be paying attention. Sometimes life seems like it's going way too fast, I have brought up in the past my analogy with the hummingbird. You water your flowers, you prepare your garden, you make it all nice, in the hopes that you'll have hummingbirds. But you can never choose on a given day whether or not you'll see them. And I often feel that I'm a little snail, and those that I love, and that which I love, and that which I cherish is all hummingbirds. Everything moves too fast for me, and I can't even reach my little neck up quite fast enough to wiggle my feelers at it and get in touch with those people and those experiences and those times that everything goes just a little bit too fast for me to connect. Yeah, but it's not about me, It's about others. It's about This feeling that I can never really connect to those around me properly because I'm just a little too slow. Just a little too slow. And is that true? Is that really... Do I need to stress myself about that? Do I need to worry about that? Do I need to make that a big deal? I don't think so. Really, honestly, truly, I don't think I do need to make it a big deal. I don't think it helps anyone if I make it a big deal and beat myself up over it and try to tell myself that I should be an entirely different person. You know, I just am who I am. And I make the mistakes that I make, and I have to love that woman. I have to love that woman no matter what. You know, unconditional love is, well, it's a tough concept at the best of times, I would argue, I would say. But I think it's the hardest when it's applied to ourselves. You might make a mistake one day that you feel you'll never be able to forgive yourself for. And you're gonna have to forgive yourself for it. Or you'll be stuck for the rest of your life. And let me tell you, nobody deserves to be stuck for the rest of their lives. It's just not right for anyone. That being said, I'm gonna sleep through the night. I'm gonna drink my tea. You know, I'm gonna become enlightened so fast, because it's a competition, okay? You know, Siddhartha Gautama, who the fuck is that? I barely know her. I am so much better at getting enlightened. I am going to get enlightened like 3 times faster than whoever that person is. You know, I'm not going to allow someone else to get enlightened faster or more effectively than I do. That would be absolutely dumb, because I'm cool and smart and amazing, and those are the qualities which are necessary for achieving enlightenment. I've decided, okay? I have decided that those are the right qualities, and I have realized that those are the qualities I embody. Those are the qualities I represent. Those are the qualities I hold dear, you know? And probably, you know, other animals, you know? But deer's kind of the easy one to explain. And then this one, I don't know. This is, I'm a little bit off, aren't I? I'm just a little off from where I should be with this. I don't know if this is a good idea, she says, knowing full well that it's a terrible idea. Yeah, let's go with that. Sure. Ooh, I like that. Oh, that's good. Okay. So, you already know what's happening next. I have a single bucket of water. I have no other way to get back up to the surface. I'm going to make a little pool down here. I'm going to make a little underground pool. It's going to be cute as all get out. And I'm going to make it so that it releases a little stream of water. And that little strumble of water, that little strumble of water is going to be, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to go all the way into the caves. And what am I going to find in the caves? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know the answer to that question. You know, we don't know the answer to that question. We don't have all the answers before us when we set out on the journey, because that's not the point of a journey, to know what the end result, what the end goal is meant to be. But, you know, I think I've made it pretty abundantly clear through my wisdom and teachings what the journey of life is meant to achieve, of what the singular, guiding, all-consuming, worthwhile purpose of life itself is on all levels: fundamental, physical, material, spiritual, ecumenical, whatever that means. You know, I heard it in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I've started saying it in lists because I thought it was funny, but I think ecumenical, I don't even know what it means. I don't know. Maybe it's related to the clergy, but maybe it's related to financial matters. I don't know. I just don't know. This is not my area of expertise. It's not my area of sexpertise. It's not my area of normal pertise. You know, these are all things I don't know the answer to. I don't even know. You know, people expect me to know these things. People expect me to know all sorts of things. There are things I don't know. You know, and honestly, I think that that's complete bull nastiness. Complete and utter bull nastiness. Because I should know everything. I alone should be the knower of the things. I alone should be the one who knows all of them things. But, booty, I don't know. There's many things that I don't know. And there's many things that I would like to say to you. But I don't know how. And in the end, poison spiders. Here we go. So I've got this, you know, so what I'm going to do, okay, what I am going to do is very simple. Okay, I'm going to make a little enclosure, just a little enclosure, okay, just a little enclosure to enclose, you know, this little area will be enclosed by my, you guessed it, my enclosure, okay, and it'll be the entrance, you know, and it'll go down, okay, it'll go downwards, it'll go downwise, it'll go squidwards, it'll go sidewards, you know, it'll go sidey squiddywards, you know, all of these directions, all of these numerous, different, distinct directions that are all not the same. And then we'll make a little pocket in here, you know, a little pocket, little squirmble in here. You know, I might even surround this with like some of those things, some of those amethysts, you know, some of that amethystian stuff. But we'll see. We'll start with some stuff. You know, We'll work our way to some things. You know, we'll work our way up in the world. We'll squircle, work our way up in the world. We'll squircle and workle our way up in the world. Those are the goals. You know, the goals of this establishment, the goals of this administration will be to squircle first and workle second. Squircle up and workle our way up in the world. Those are the two goals of this administration. And you can quote me on that. I intend to deliver, you sweet, weird people. You sweet, strange, unusual, sort of maladjusted, deformed people. You know, not that there's anything wrong with being physically deformed. It's totally normal, you know? And even if it isn't normal, it is also okay. Morally, one's physical form has no determination, no input, no impact on one's moral value, right? That's just silly. And why does that propagate? You know, the idea of the ugly witch, right? Why does that matter? It shouldn't. It doesn't. In fact, it does not. And yet, you know, when culture chooses a metaphor, when culture chooses a symbolic shortcut, when culture chooses a way of depicting something or viewing something, well, the metaphor becomes inescapable. And through that, the metaphor becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, an inherent impulse, right? If you put an ogre in the story, right, you can't really make the ogre non-violent or pacifist. You can try, but the fact of its non-violence or pacifism will always relate back to the inherent assumption that ogres should be, or are usually, somehow inherently violent creatures. Isn't that stupid? I think that's just stupid. But what am I to do? What am I to do? You know, am I going to scream and cry about it like I do when I don't have room in the fridge for my oat milk? You know? And my roommates keep putting my oat milk in the corner, you know, where it's sad and alone and afraid, you know? When they keep removing the space that I have for my oat milk and replacing it with their horrible substances like soy sauce and sriracha, their disgusting non-oat milk substances for which there is no excuse. For which there is no excuse. For which there is no excuse. I spelled it with a P for originality. But there's not usually a P at the end of the word excuse. It's usually excuse. Not excuse. But what am I to do? You know, why not? If I have to, I'll spell words with every letter in the alphabet. Don't you test me. Don't you scramble me up. I'll scramble you down. You know, don't you follow me up. Don't you feel me up. I'll feel you sideways. I'll feel you around, you know. These are some things that can be said. And should be said. And must be said for the sake of justice. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Here we go. Nope, wrong. Incorrect. Try again. Tiny pig with a big head. Tiny pig with a big head. Hey, tiny pig with a big head. What do you have to say about society? He doesn't have much to say about society. His silence is deafening and will not be tolerated. Let's try this. Let's get that in there and that in there. And then let's check if we've got more of the dark oak saplings. Dark oak saplings. Dark oak saplings. No, they're not dropping. They're not dropping. I haven't seen them drop. Bobble bobble. Okay, wait a second. Okay, hold on. Hold your horses. You know, hold on to your petunias. You silly little people. You silly little peoples. Speaking of peoples, okay. Have you personally, viewer, I'm asking you directly, I'm reaching through your speakers and grabbing you by whatever you've got, you know, whatever flap of flesh is exposed at the moment, and asking you, have you seen Shaft? Specifically the 2000s version, and specifically the 1972 version. Specifically both of those versions. I'm asking if you've watched both and or one or two of the other of both of those versions, because it's very good. It's very good. It's extremely good and interesting. And by interesting, I do mean good. And good. And also good. It's a good movie. They're both very good movies about justice and truth and ethics and other types of things, you know, other types of stuff. But my favorite thing about Shaft is that another way of interpreting his name is that it means something other than just a name. You know, they say his name is just John Shaft, you know, but there's another way of interpreting what his name means, and it's that his name means something else other than what it means on the surface of it. That it's like a little bit of a double meaning, a double entendre. A double tundra level doubles. And I think that's interesting. You know, I think it's compelling. You know, it'd be like if Compost Cup was named Compost Penis. And I think, honestly, that would improve everything drastically. And we'll see. Maybe I'll work that into the narrative, you know? Maybe I'll work that into the narrative. This is interesting. I wonder if this is just a soil deposit or if this is actually like a place where the surface is exposed. If this is a cave, you know, this could be any number of things. This could be any number of things. This could even be any number of things. You know, there's a lot of things this could be. Almost any number of them. You know, like 3 or 7 or 48 quadrillion to the 72 million to the 852 to the 3 or 7 or pi or q if there's a number q, or whatever number corresponds perfectly to the universal single digit coordinate of the Q being from Star Trek. You know, as though he occupies exactly one position, which he does not. But for the sake of simplicity, I would argue the average location of him in multivariate, multidimensional space. Hey, some emeralds! That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. You know, that's pretty nifty. I think we can do something with that. I think there's something we can do with that. Okay, I'm gonna make more shovels. Okay, but basically this is a good little dirt mine, and I'm gonna fully. There's gotta be a dirt mine. I'm gonna have a mine, and it's gonna have dirt in it, and it's gonna be my dirt mine. But first, I want to see what's down here. I want to see what's all the way down here. Oh no! Ow! Owa, owa! Ouchie, ouchie! Well, there we go. There's lava. There is one of... Oh, no. Well, at least I know where my stuff is now. Oh. And I know that my stuff is gonna get washed down as soon as I... Oh, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, well, there's some of my stuff. Did it get washed into the lava? Some of it got washed into lava. Some of it got washed down here. Some of it got washed into the squash. Some of it got squashed and washed. And what's all that now? Oh, there's some stuff here. I'll put on my fishnets for this. Oh, well, this is definitely a safe place to be. What a nice, beautiful little glowing little area. Look at how glowy and aerial it is. And by aerial, I do mean that it is as wish as if it was an area. It's got the area nature to it. All the area-ness. Oh, what? Oh. Well, that's rather interesting, isn't it? I would like some torches with which to exploratize this whole situation. To exploitate it. To exploratize it. Oh, it's a creeper. You know, it's a little friendly guy. Look, it's making some friendly noises. That's pretty cool. It's making some friendly noises at me. I like that. You know? I like a girl with some personality, you know? You know? You walk around in her general vicinity, and she makes ominous, blood-curdling, shrieking noises. You know? That's how women should be. You know? That's what a domestic relationship is all about. You know? It's about the balance. It's about respect, you know? It's about the mutual, you know? It's about the creepy noises she makes all the time. She makes creepy noises,
and you listen to them, and you're like, oh, baby, those noises you're making, you're very unsettling. And she's like, and you're like, aw, that's so nice. Thank you for thinking of me. And then she goes like, and you're like, oh, are you like a normal zombie? I thought you were like, you know, a little bit more nuanced on a creative level. This, I'll take, you know, as whatever, you know. I'll accept what you're able to provide, you know, because I value you as a person for your role in this relationship, regardless. And then she bites your face, you know, really, really hard, and takes off like a chunk of your cheekbone, you know. And it's like, no, this is, you know, I mean, I understand, right? But this is a lot to process in a way. And she goes, and starts bashing her fists on your body. And you're like, this is pretty mean now, okay? I wasn't gonna take this all personally. I was doing my best not to take this personally. And then she goes, and starts chasing you with a hatchet. And you're like, I didn't think zombies were usually capable of, like, tool use, you know? And this is, like, kind of a surprise. Can we, like, try to define the boundaries of this whole experience, like, sooner rather than later, really? I mean, like, you don't have to commit to anything you don't want to, like, commit to too early, but, like, this is a lot to take in. This is a lot to take in, you know? And then that's, like, pretty much, that's, like, most of the relationship is kind of, like, described by all that, you know? There's some twists and turns along the way, you know? She learns how to handle coupons from Walgreens very well, you know? She makes, like, a lot of money on the Walgreens coupons, because she figures out the system. She figures out how to game it, you know? Usually you can't combine coupons, but she initiates a dark ritual with forbidden entities that allows her to travel through multivariate, multidimensional space and then redeem the coupon multiple times in multiple contexts. And then the bonuses applied by the coupon actually start to stack through the multiple shifting realities, even though, yeah, I mean, it's technically a multiple redemption, but they don't have a dimensional task force at Walgreens, so they can't actually tell that you've done that for, like, a little while, until, you know, the time police get involved, and they kind of ruin the show. But, you know, in the meantime, for a few glorious weeks, you know, I don't know what they sell at Walgreens. I've never been there. I lost my pickaxe. How did I lose my pickaxe? That's, like, the main thing. Did it go in here? Did you take my pickaxe? You silly guy. You sillied it all up with your silliness. And then here's another question. Is there more lava over here that I could potentially, you know, use for my evil purposes in the lava collection? We will see. It does kind of look like that. And then what's all this? I wonder, should I just make a crafting table down here? Because I feel like there's a lot of resources, and I'm like 90% of the way to being able to just, like, collect stuff. It'd be nice not to, like, make it too hard on myself. But look at all that. That's pretty neat. What's that? Is that Herobrine? That's Herobrine, right? That's gotta be Herobrine. Y'all see that, right? That's Herobrine. Herobrine, come here, come here. Herobrine, come here, boy. Come here, boy. Herobrine. Oh. Well, that's not. Whoa. Huh. Herobrine. You're multiple of you. Well, that certainly is a view into the echoing, dark, endless void behind all reality. I think it's just that this is beyond the usual view settings, but this is a very large area, a very large internal cavity sort of space. And there we go. How far back do I need to go to get to where I was from? Look at that. There's more Herobrine. Off in the distance. You know, what's that ominous glowing light in the distance? Don't worry about it. It's a very common answer. You know, people say this. They're like, don't worry about the ominous glowing light in the distance. And I'm like, well, maybe I want to worry about the ominous glowing light in the distance. Maybe I want to know, you know, about its thoughts and its feelings. Maybe I want to connect with the ominous glowing light in the distance. And there are Daimon! Daimon! There's the demons! There's the demoniums! I know what to do about this situation. Here we go. Oh, I promised myself I'd make a shovel. But I didn't promise y'all I'd make a shovel. I promised myself, you know? I promised my little self I'd make a shovel. This might work. No, never mind. I'm not gonna try it. Psych. You know, I know that won't work. Deep down inside in my heart, I know that that's not a solution to that whole situation. So, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. There we go. There's some iron ore. Let's go make some iron ore. Let's go make some iron pickaxes. You know, let's just work our way up the tech tree, you know. There's redstone, there's iron ore, there's all this stuff, you know. It's all swirling around down here. You know, just swirling itself down here. And I intend to swirl it in turn. You know, to swirl it myself. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's clearly determined to be swirled. So, I am going to allow it to be that, you know, for its own reasons, for its own purposes, for its own reasons, for its own reasons. All of those different, unique things within that list of things that I said. Here we go. What's this? What's that? What's that? What's this? What's this? Huh? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Glow blue. Psh, pff, psh, pff. I am not even afraid. I'm not even afraid. I'm not scared of it. Nope. Not even, nope. Not even a little bit. Because I'm so brave. I'm brave. I'm about as brave as bravery itself. About as brave as a brave person, you know? Nobody knows this, but I'm actually about as brave as braveness. Bravery, brave person. Now, here's a question. Is that the way I came? Well, that's a very good question. I don't know. Well, definitely this is the right place to get lost. If I was going to get lost in an ominous dark cave, it would be the one with all of the nice glowy blue things. You know, all of the nice glowy blue things that make all the ominous noises that I love so much. It does seem to be the way to go, you know? If one is to embrace these things. And then the other question is, can I recover all of my stalactism, all of my stalactitic energy, all of the stalactilisms in my life? I do think that one is directly underneath the lava, so I think I'm going to leave that for now. Yeah, that one's directly underneath the lava. It's directly underneath the lava. It's unequivocally beneath the lava. You know, there's lava above it. There's lava right there, so I'm not gonna mess with that. That seems like it would be a bad idea. But there's some seeds there. I could probably set these seeds down for now, and I could collect some of this horrible substance. You know, some of this horribly addictive substance. You know, contribute to the CO2 release. You know, the release of fossil carbon in Minecraft. You know, Hopefully I can balance it out by growing enough trees. Hopefully, I don't know. Once I plant a tree, I don't know how big it's going to grow or how long it's going to last or what I'm going to do with it or if I'm going to get a craving for broccoli, and just eat a tree. I might just eat it. I might just want to eat it like nom nom nom, It's possible. It's possible. You never know what I'm going to do next. You never know what I might do in the subsequent future. You might never know what I was going to do in the next time that I do something. You might not even know what I was going to do. You might not even know what I was going to do. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, Well, part of this is going back up, but part of this is probably also like making something down here. Right? Like, why not just, make something down here? Why not just create something down here, Why not just create something down here? And then there's, some other stuff I could do. One thing I could do is I could put some of these bamboolers, some of this bamboozlement up down here. But I think, honestly, if I'm going to make something, probably the best place to start would be up here, right? Well, this is very interesting, isn't it? This is very interesting. This is also very interesting. And for a third and distinct thing, I also think it's very neat. Oh, lapis. Lapis lazulus. Lapis lazulus, they say. That's what it's called. And then what's that? Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Yes. Good. Yes. It is time. It is time. It is the occurrence. The occurrence has occurred. The occurrence has happulated. It's happitized. I think this is probably the best place to start if I'm going to make a room that's going to be the place where I live. Yeah, one of the things I'm going to do down here. Okay, one of the things I'm going to do down here. And thirdly, one of the things I'm going to do down here is I'm going to make a lot of furnaces. Because I'm going to want a lot of furnaces down here. I'm going to want a lot of furnaces in this area, in this general locality. I'm going to want a lot of furnaces in this location. Okay? I don't want you to think or infer anything dubious about my behavior or intentions from the number of furnaces that I'm going to make in this location. But I'm going to make some furnaces, baby. I'm going to make some furnaces. Okay? I'm going to make some furnaces. That's what I'm going to do, And people try to stop me from making furnaces, It is simply an act of their own hubris and folly when they do so, when they do so. And furthermore, when they do so much ketamine, because it's for me. It's for me. I am the one who should have the, And it's rude, frankly. I would say, I would even go so far as to say that it's rude when people don't give me the chemonyms. The chemonyms. Okay, so there's a couple of things, okay? This whole area, this entire area, this whole area, this area with hole in it, is going to need some dirtification in order to become what it's supposed to be, in order to reach its full potato potential, in order to reach its full potationin. It's all potationin. Its whole potatotionalness. Whole potatousness. Its entire potato-ness. Yeah. In order to achieve its entire potato-ness, it's going to need some of this. Some of this is going to need to happen. Some of this is going to need to occur. Some of this is going to need to occurlize. Some of this is going to need to transpire. Some of this is going to need two. Okay, wait a second. So, people are gonna say, you know, she's lost it. She's finally lost her mind, okay? And to that, I will say, you can't lose what you don't have. And everyone will have to say, fair enough. Fair enough. You know, like, fair enough. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to, like, pretend to be an okay, mentally sort of a person. You don't even have to pretend to be a person. I would hope that they would say that, but, you know, so far, people do seem to expect that I will be, like, sort of like an entire human being, which I think is kind of rude, to be honest. I think it's a little bit rude to expect that from me, because I am clearly a compost-based entity with dubious intentions, not a human being. Those are, like, lots of things. You know, there's a lot going into being a human. It's like a whole thing. It's like an entire situation to be a human. Okay, so we can throw some pickaxe energy, some stuff energy in there. We can throw that in there. We can have this. We can throw that in there. We can throw that in there. We can throw that in there. We can throw that. We want that. We want this. We want that. We want that. We want that. We want this. We want that. We want this. And we want that. And then we want this to go in there. And we want to get as much iron from that as we possibly can. And then we want to get rid of the ink sacs and then the saddle. And we want that to be there. And then what we basically want is we want this, I think. And then, do I have an axe? I do have an axe. And then I do have this. So the other thing I could do, actually, is I could use this. Right? And I could build out a thing that connects to there. And then sort of re-jingle all of that. And then we can sort of get things going where they're supposed to be going. Because the other thing we're going to need is we're going to need enough bamboo. Enough bamboo to transpire into a bamboozlement of it all. Some sort of bambooification. Some sort of bamboozlization. Some sort of bamboozlidation. Some sort of bamboo bedamble-amble-bedambulation. Yeah, all of those distinct concepts, you know, schmurtling around in the world. And then there's like some stuff down here. There's some stuff down here. There's even some stuff down here. What is this? What is this? You know, what is this? What is this, for example? This is kind of neat. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Ooh. Save me some time. Give me a name tag. There we go. Okay. So, there's a couple of things. There's a small list of things. There's an occurrence. You know, there's a convergence. There's a conversion. There's a convergent sturgeon. Ooh, that's good. Enchanted golden apple. What is it enchanted with? The power of friendship? I hope so. It's a pretty powerful power. Okay, so now there's a couple things. There's a small list of things. There's a small itemized list of stuff. Okay. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, okay? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. You know, I'm getting a small amount of head of myself. Don't ask me how I do that, okay? It's a closely guarded secret taught to me by ninjas. Pirate ninjas. Ninjas who are pirates. Not the other way around. Pirate ninjas. They taught me everything I need to know. Everything I need to know about life. Everything that's worth knowing. They teach me about it. They taught to me about it. And now hesitating to tell you because it's a closely guarded secret. I better not whisper it to myself under my breath while I'm muttering. They'll never find out the secret technique. They'll never figure it out. They'll never even guess what it is based on the context. They'll never even assume what it is based on the context. They'll never assume that they can guess what it is based on the context of it all. Here we go. Get that in there? Check rank, you know? Some would argue that doing this in peaceful mode is cheating, and I would say to that, and I would just keep making noises like that until they stop talking. It's a pretty effective argumentative technique. Most people can't put up a fight against that kind of biting wit and auditory criticism. They can't handle it, you know, they just can't handle it, they just can't take it. They just can't acceptorize it. They can't, you know, wrap their little stupid dumb brains around it. They're like, oh no, that's too smart, I can't handle that. And it's true. Oh, I wonder what this is. Oh, this is very interesting. Well, there's some diamond horse armor. I definitely make use of that. I definitely make use of some redstones. I definitely make use of beetroot seeds. Well, there's some leather, there's some diamond horse armor, you know. And then there's some music disc. And there's some gunpowder, you know. There's some gunpowder. There's some string, there's some iron, there's some watermelon seeds, there's some rotten flesh, you know, that I can consume. You know, I have been thinking to myself, you know, wouldn't the COVID pandemic be like a great setup for a zombie movie? You know, there's a whole zombie, you know, virus. You know, it's not currently a zombie virus, right? But it has the ability to infect brain cells. You know, some French guy was the guy who like was working on that stuff. And I went to a lecture. I went to his class. And he was like, I am a Quebec guy. And he was like, COVID-19 infects the brain cells. Here are the eyeballs. I mean, here's the fluorescence microscopy from the fluorescent reporter fusions that we did of all the COVID proteins and infected cell lines. And look, these are brain cell lines. And look, this is COVID infecting brain cell lines. I don't know if I can legally show you the figures from the papers, but you know, here they are. You know, so that's fun, right? And I've caught myself, you know, in the last couple of weeks having like a headache, and in the past couple of months having this thought, you know, this totally abnormal thought that isn't normal for me, that's different than what I usually think about, which is that, you know, I should be biting people. You know, I've been thinking this a lot lately, unusually. You know, contrary to my normal pattern of what I think about normally. And so I'm like, maybe it's not my fault. Maybe it's not my fault. Maybe it's not even my fault. You know, maybe I just have, you know, been infected with a brain thing that's like, oh, you should bite people, right? I mean, it doesn't currently spread COVID, but like rabies exists in canines. Rabies exists in canines, and it's literally a zombie virus, you know? I mean, for all of the people who are like, oh, what would happen if there was a zombie virus, blah, 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 just look at what happens with dogs with rabies, you know? It's kind of a big deal, you know? But overall, it ends up sort of balancing out a little bit. It ends up sort of balancing out a bit. You know, it's like, don't worry about it so much. It's just a little bit of friendly biting. You know, it's just a little bit of friendly biting. Come here. You know, come here. What's a little biting between people? You know, not necessarily friends, not necessarily lovers, but just two people. You know, two normal people You know, sometimes there's some biting involved. When there are two people, when there are two girls even, there's some biting that can occur between them. And this is something that can happen, you know? This is something that can happen. It's been known to occur, you know? It's been known to occur. The biting. It's happened, you know? This is one of those things, you know? It does. You know, people don't want to admit it. People don't want to say, you know, that this is true. But it's true. There's biting that happens. And sometimes it's between people. And sometimes the biting is between me and certain your moms in the situation. So, you know, much to think about, much to consider deeply, much to visualize imaginarily. But, you know, I know you have deep feelings towards me. How could you not? But, alas, I am merely a cube creature, and I am unattainable because I live in a digital dimension. And so I'm forever outside of your reach in your human normal world of normal humanness. You know, but you know, it's not out of my reach, your reach. It's your mom. It is your mom. So there is that. You know, I may be unattainable, but that's, you know, not always the only thing to worry about, you know. Sometimes there's other factors to consider. Sometimes there's additional factors to consider. So, all of those distinct things. Sometimes even there's additional factors to consider. And sometimes there's additional factors to consider. Because there's a spider. Spider. With like lots of legs and it's creeping around. And it's going. And you just have to deal with that emotionally. You just have to find a way to reach into your organs and cope with that whole situation. With that entire situation. With that void inside your bones. And the void is like, oh, you're all no, no, and you're like, oh no. And then you're like, oh no, and then you're like, oh no, and you're like crying and stuff, and you're like, makeup is dripping, you know. And you're getting bitten, you know, but you're like into it, you know. That's part of it. This is part of it. It's like, you know, you actually like being bitten, you know. I know you're weird about that kind of thing, so, you know, you don't have to hide it, you know, you can admit it to yourself first, you know, that's the most important person you can admit anything to, you know, and then the second person to admit it to is yourself. I mean, Jesus, Buddha, probably Buddha, and then Jesus, and then yourself, and then me, and then probably Dolly Parton, the great philosopher of our time, Dolly Parton. You know, as in Dolly Parton, you doing around here? I did really think there would be more stalagmites. I did really think eventually I would find more stalagmites in this area. But then again, I might have some stalagmites with me. I might have some stalagmites with me. I might even have some stalagmites with me. It's possible. It's possible. You know, the possibility can't be discounted. The possibility can't be discounted. The possibility can't be, you know, put into an endless coupon loop through multidimensional shenanigans at Walgreens. Or rather, the solution probably can be put into a dimensional feedback loop with Walgreens coupons. I didn't get paid to mention Walgreens. Or did I? And then this? Where does this go? Where does this go? Where does this go? I don't know. I'm gonna keep going. No. Resist. Okay. So there's a couple. Oh, there's some emeralds. There's some emeralds up there. Yeah, this cave is gonna need some considerable cleaning up. But now I'm like a little bit frustrated with myself for not going into the direction that I knew had my little balcony earlier on. Because now I'm lost, even though I really shouldn't have any reason to need to be. It's a little annoying. You know? And in addition to that, it's a little irritating. It's a little titillating. It's a little ear-titillating. Okay, don't worry about that. Nobody's into ears. That's not a real thing. You know? You're like, oh no, she's gonna start talking about ear stuff. It's like, no, there's no ear stuff. That doesn't exist. No, nobody has ears. That's just commie propaganda, you know? It's capitalist propaganda. That's commie capitalism. Commie-pattillism, as they call it. Where I'm from, they call it commie-pattillism. Okay, well, my life has gotten difficult now. One of the things I know is that generally it's around. Oh, wait. Hello. What's this? Hello. Whoa. Whoa. Nope. That's just that. I've been there. But I know that somewhere near there's an access point that brings me pretty close to where I was when I got down here. I really did think finding that other place where you get close to the waterfall was going to be easier from where I ended up being, but no, it's harder now. It's more difficult now. You know, it's more erect now. It's more difficult. Yeah, but maybe it's this way. No. What about this way? No, that's all where I came from. What's this? What's that? Nope, that doesn't look like it either. What about this way? Is that? Or that? Nope, that's literally where I was just looking. Okay, well, this is definitely tricky. It's definitely tricky, and there's definitely a trick to all this. Where do I keep not going? Because I'm like sure that I've been there before. Well, what was this? This was definitely something. Was this like a big coal deposit? Was this an iron deposit? There's copper, you know. I can kind of tell. Oh, no, I did see that, and then I went that way, and then I realized it was a dead end. And there we go. There's the cherry blossom bush. There's a little cherry blossom bush. A little cherry blossomish. A little cherry blossomish. A little cherry spilloshmish. And then we can grab this, and we can throw this in, and we can throw this there, and then we can take this, and we can take this, and we can throw this there, and this there, and then we can take this, right? And we can throw this, and this, and this, and this there, and then this and there, and this and there, and there, and there. And then the diamond horse armor and the music disc, and both like treasure. So let's take all the like treasure and put it up there, I think. You know, Apple related sort of stuff, and then we can take all of the globeries, and put them all over the place. You know, squirrel them up into this area, and then we might as well just go from the angle that we can actually see, and work our way over. And work our way over, and work our way over, and work our way over, and get a little closer, get a little bit jiggy with it. You know, whatever the it is, we get a little bit jiggy with that particular thing. So that's kind of the situation. And there's a bunch of coal, and there's a bunch of iron, and there's a bunch of other stuff in here. You know, this is pretty swanky. This is pretty sweet. This is pretty neat. And then it's just kind of a matter of realizing that the only place where we really want the water to be coming out is probably like, actually, I should grab my bucket. In addition, separately, I should grab my bucket. But will I? No, I won't do that. Psych. I'm actually going to do exactly that. You thought I wouldn't do it. You thought I was too cool to grab my bucket. Proves you stupid and wrong. You stupid wrong person. Do. Here we go. Okay. So, you're not stupid and wrong. That was mean. I was just being mean. Why? Because I like being mean sometimes. I think it's funny. Do. You know, my tragic backstory. Sometimes I enjoy being mean. So there is that situation. And then the only other thing is, I have my bucket, so then the only thing I need is my bucket. And then my bucket is part of the whole situation of what I need. So I see that the water sort of comes from up here, and the only reason it comes from up here is because it goes all the way down there. So one of the things I could do is I could take a little torch, or I could take blocks. And then it's like, I know that this is the block that I'm trying to get to, and then there's this whole structure up here that kind of puts me in this situation of like, I kind of feel like I need to, I don't know, address this whole area, you know? I need to do something with it, because it's kind of here no matter what I do or what I want, you know, what I think, what I feel, you know? I like talking about you usually, but occasionally I want to talk about me. I want to talk about I want to talk about number me mo I o. You know, one of those things. One of those sort of things I want to talk about. So, you know, there's all kinds of conflicting needs. We've all got conflicting needs. We've all got different sorts of things to be like, you know, concerned about. We've all got conflicting needs. And in addition to that, we all have conflicting needs. What is that? I don't know. That looks like something. And then we go up, we go up, we go up, and we go up. And then in addition to that, we go upwards. And we go upwise, and we go upways. And we keep going upwards. Upwards. We do always need more torches. We do always need more torches. And separately from that, we also need more torches. So one of the things we could do, one of the things hypothetically, we could even do, one of the things we could do would be to go here and block off this exact block. And then this would all sort of squirrel its way down. Squirrel its way down. And then we could just carve a path of least resistance into the living dirt. And then we have to realize that we actually sort of failed to account for how we're going to get back up that whole situation. I'm sure it will be fine. She said, not at all sure that it would be fine, but hopeful that it would be. How? Okay, well, this has gone extremely badly. Now I'm kind of trapped. Okay, what can we do about that? We can go here. We can go here. Ugh, that hurts. Ouch, 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 ouch. And then we can go here, I guess. Oh, fart. Well, that didn't work. I don't see any water sources nearby, so that makes this whole situation kind of tricky. That makes this entire situation kind of tricky. Why am I making this so difficult for myself? You know, why am I making this so difficult-ized? Difficultiness, difficultiliasms. Why am I making this all differisms? What can we do? I don't know. What can we do? We can get up here. You know, we can get up here. We can get up to this level. You know, we can get up to this level. And then we can get up to... I mean, it would be kind of cool if the only way to access this whole thing would be through a waterfall. But now I'm kind of like, I'm dubious if that's like a good idea. Well, there's some more lapis. I have been looking for that. Did you know that for French people, lapis is just kiss? Makes you think. Doot doot doo. Doot doot. And another thing. Do. It's a different thing, different concept altogether. Doot doo and then do. Doot doo and then do do. And then do 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 do. And then do 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 do. And do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. For some reason, I'm thinking about the Game Boy Color Bionicle games, where you get to play as like the the villagers. I forget they had like a name, like a Bionicle sort of style name. It was like the Mojungles or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was something. It certainly was something. And then there was like this whole thing, you know. I mean, now I'm like kind of wondering, and even kind of wondering, should I have gotten rid of the whole waterfall before I carved out a channel for it? Like, because now I have to go back up, put water down, and then make another channel for the water. And that seems a little silly. And also, it seems a little silly to do that way. And I just lost a lot of elevation really quickly through a couple of bad decisions. Not that that's something that could ever happen in real life. No, not even a little bit. Nope, nuh-uh. Here we go. 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 Here we even go. Here we go. We made it all the way back up to the top. And we have some iron to throw in one of these chests. You know? So we have something to show for the whole thing. Something to show for the whole thing. Something to show for the whole thing. You know? For the whole thing. Something to show for the whole thing. And then, I don't know. I mean, I never found... Does this bundle have any Stalager noodles? I don't see any Stalager noodles. That's made my life tricky. No, it certainly has made my life a little tricky. It certainly has made my life a little tricky. You know, it certainly made my life a little tricky. So what I can do is now I have a water source, right? Now I have a water source. So now I have a water source. And what I can do, okay, with that water source, is I can go down back to where I was previously, historically, at another time. And then I can check back into this corner and see what's back here. You know, see what's back here. See what is back here. See even what is back here. And then check here and check here and check there, and then be like, oh no, I'm gonna be stuck now. Doo-doo-doo. And I'm gonna think to myself, no, you're never stuck, never in life, never once in life at all are we stuck. Not really, not truly, not until we give up and admit defeat, but until you admit 2 feet, the feet can't get you. The foot of it all can't get you until you admit that there's feet. But once you admit that there's feet, then the feet can get you, and you can get feeted. So don't get feeted out there, people. It's dangerous. Okay, so I see where this stream is supposed to go, and as long as this stays the lowest point, I should be able to make it all the way that it should be, to get it to go the way that I want it to go, to get it to go the way that I would prefer it to go, to get it to go to where I want it to go. That doesn't quite work, because I want it to go there. So it'll go bump, 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 and then down. So I can't let it go there. So what I need to do is just do what I just need to do is to make a little weirder, to make a little weirder, and then it should go that way, hopefully. I could make it go down there, and then it goes like a little bit around the corner, because I did like that it did that, and then it also served like that corner, but I think it's basically just going to be like this. Let's just do this. Let's just make it basically like this, and then it'll be like that, and it'll go like, and then down there, Just keep it simple, just keep it simple, just keep it like simple, just keep it simple. Just keep it a little shrimple. Just keep it a little shrimple, like a pimple. Oh no. Am I stuck? Am I trapped? Am I doomed? Nope. Not even a little bit, but come here. Oh no! Oh no! Oh darn! Oh darn! Oh dang! Oh darn! Darn dang! Turned it! Oh darn it! Oh dargle! I am gonna need like some stalagmite noodles though. That is gonna need to happen. I am serious about that. People think I'm joking when I talk about stalagmite noodles, but I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious about stalagmite noodles. Me and stalagmite noodles are like straight up homies, we're homies. Or like even like homies. Me and stalagmite noodles are. So don't even test me on the topic of stalagmite noodles, because I don't know all that. I don't know a lot about most things. Most of the things that I should know things about, I don't know much about, so I don't know much about them. So that's another way of saying that, is that I don't know a lot about them. So don't ask me questions, because I will probably be wrong about most things, most of the time. Most of the time, most of the things I'll be wrong about. 90% of things, or 90% of the time, things that I'm going to be wrong about. So, these are all things to consider. Oh, that was enlightenment. See? Speed run. Put it up on the clock. What was that? Just took an entire lifetime. Just took an entire human lifetime. So there you go. I got enlightened pretty fast. Oh no. Well, how do I do this? How do I do that? Oh, that's annoying. Oh, that was a bad idea. Well, anyway, I'm sure it'll come out in the wash. There we go. Let's get that there. Let's get this here, right? That's cute. That's pretty cute. And you know what else that is? Pretty cute. Okay, wait a second. I made that mistake before. I'm not gonna make that mistake a second time. I'm not gonna make that mistake 2 times. I'm gonna make that mistake 1 time and 1 time only. So I'm a mistake maker only 1 time. That's what they call it. They say she's the girl who makes mistakes but only once, ever. Never, ever, ever again. Not twice. Not the twice mistake maker. They call me the one-time mistake maker. Because when I learn from my mistakes, I only make them, and then I make them only one time, and then I never make them again a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time, or a fifth time, or a sixth time. And mistakes like the one single individual time. So that's it. I never make mistakes more than that number of times. You can quote me on that. And I'm gonna want more potatoes and vines. Definitely vines. A lot of vines. Start throwing vines all over the place. Start throwing vines all over the place. I can't veganize and leave. Okay, well, you get to live. Darn it. I'd have to break my vegan run. If I want to get rid of El Pigo. So I'm just gonna have to accept it. It's just the situation as it is. Just accept the situation for the situation of it all. And rats. Darn and poopy. One of those different unique concepts. They're different from each other. And then this. I know what this is. But I don't have a piscax. Darn it. Okay, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I can definitely throw these down in there. And then I can take this. I mean, really, I just want to check. I just want to see. I just want to check. I would just like to check if it's possible that this waterfall goes where I want to go. It does seem to be moving quite nicely so far. Yeah. This is just like that scene in Josephine's Dreams. And it even splits exactly where I want it to. Almost like I planned it that way. Almost like I planned it that way with my planning gland. It's the organ in my body that I use for all of my planning. Well, that's very unique. And furthermore, very neat. And furthermore, very interesting. And you know what I do when things are interesting? I throw up and get sad, and get sad and throw up. And throw up all over the place and get sad, and throw up sadly. And sadly throw up while sadly being sad. But then it all kind of seems to work out in the end, you know? And it starts raining and blah, 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 blah. You know? Enlightenment achieved. My enlightenment, it's all good. All my enlightenments are in a row. All my decks are in enlightenment. All my decks are enlightenment up. And then, do I still have a shovel? I do still have a shovel. I do still have a shovel. Me and this shovel, we still have a relationship going on. A sexual relationship with me and this shovel. Yeah, I definitely have sex with shovels. That's something I want people to believe. Yep. That's definitely a healthy belief to have. Yep. I stand by it. Yeah, sure. Why not? I might as well. You know, I'm already in this deep. Why not? This might as well be a part of the whole thing. The whole thing. Me and the shovels. It's pretty great. Okay, what do I do? This seems neat. I can throw some vines up there. I can throw some vines in here. I can throw some vines over there. I can throw some vines over there. You know, I can even grab this and grab that and grab this and move this here and move that over there. And, you know, all these things can happen. You know, it's just part of it. It's just part of it. It's all just part of the process. It's all just part of the process. It's all just part of the process. So, we've got this, you know, we can take this, we can put this here, you know, that can be there, and then that can be there, and then I think we've got a pretty good start on making like a little fort down here, complete even with some potato situationing. Is there enough bamboo to support the stickness we need? I think so. I even think that that is the case. So, let's go with that. One thing we could do, even, is we could even go so far as to, could we make this? Could this be like part of the whole situation? Part of the entire situation? You know, we could probably do that. That could probably be part of this. Yeah. I mean, here's the question. Do we make it out of oak? Because that's oak, you know, and then replace everything oak? Or do we replace everything like that? I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question, dear viewer. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to anything. You know, I don't really know the answer to much of most of things. So, you're just going to have to accept it. You know? You're just going to have to live with that fact. You know? You're just going to have to learn to accept with that fact of life. I don't really know all the time what to do. But one thing I do know what to do is to do the things that I need to do. And the things that I need to do, what are they? I don't know. I'm asking. What's important? What's worthwhile? What's worthwhile to you? I'll base my answer to that question on your answer to that question. It's like a little shortcut. It's like a little cheat code, you know, to the universe. It's like, oh, well, if I just use your answer, then it's like I didn't have to answer it. So, it's pretty good. Pretty sweet. Pretty swankerific. Pretty swanker, my doodle, as they say. I really hope they don't say that, but I have a sneaking, creeping, disgusting feeling that they probably do say that. I have a sneaking, creeping, scrambling expectation that they probably, maybe they do say that. So it's all, those are all things, you know. I don't know what to do about them, you know. Just unfortunate realities I have to contend with all the time, every day of my life. You know, me and the unfortunate realities of the situations that I find myself in. You know? You know? You know? I think you do. I really do think you do. You know? Because if you didn't, well, you wouldn't. And then you wouldn't be here. So, what do we do here? We just throw some stuff in. We just throw some stuff down here. We just throw some bamboo in here. Why not? You know, why not? Why do I have to contend with the expectations of others? Bloop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doo-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doo. Bloop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. I wonder if this is a good way to take the dirt down. Hey, you know what I have? You know what I have? You know what I do actually have? You know what I have? Do you know what I actually have, dear viewer? Do you know what I actually have, dear viewer? Dear viewer, viewer, here is physically, metaphysically, you know, socially, ecumenically, you know. Oh dear. Oh, ow. That did hurt. That really did hurt. Okay, but here. Let's get some infinite water source energy kind of going here. you know, kind of get started on that whole situation and that entire situation. Hold on. Oh no. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting to that location. There's some stuff we're gonna have to do. One of the steps we're gonna have to go is we're gonna have to take pink petals down there. Another thing is we've now got this silk touch shovel, and we've got some obsidian. And so why don't we just take care of this whole grass block situation with the power of there's being, you know, a silk touch shovel to hand. And then we can fill that in later. And look, there's some more trees. You know, and we can just keep going. And we can just keep going. We can just keep growing. I need more axes. You know, I need a lot more axes. And in order to make axes, I need sticks. And in order to make sticks, I need bamboo. And in order to cut bamboo, well, what do I really need? Do I really need much? Don't really need much to cut bamboo. There's two things I need. I need bamboo and I need myself. It'd be kind of cool if there was like a naturally generated structure that involved those thick bamboo stalks. The ones that you can make from like lots and lots of bamboo. You can make those bamboo stalks. It'd be cool if you could like, I don't know, make some super bone meal. Or feed it a bone block. Or grow it on top of a series of bone blocks and make a big bundle. Make a big bundle. Make a giant bundle. You know, make a bundle. Even you could make a bundle. Be pretty neat. Be pretty swaggerific. You know? It's a new phrase the kids have started saying. It's way cooler than 6-7. Okay, what is this now? This is something. I forget what's down there, but it's neat. I know there's something notable down there. I forget what it is, but it's neat. It's notable and it's neat. Both of those notes individually distinctly. How many of these do we have? There's a lot. Well, we have like 2 stacks. That's enough. That's enough to get started, for sure. Oh my goodness. Do you see how much, on breaking 3, how much of that shovel have we used up already? Quite a lot. That's sad. That's very sad. It's a very limited application of silk touch. I only have a little bit of silk touch to work with. So, we need one of these, at least one. We need 2 of these. And at least 2 of these. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, but that wasn't even the tool we wanted. No. Okay, one thing I can do. One of the things I can do is I can throw cobble in there, and andesite, I can throw granite, I can throw gravel, I can throw diorite. Right, because I know I'm going to need a stack of each of these to be somewhere. And then the moss blocks, I don't know, I'll probably keep them around in my inventory. And the kelp I can throw in here. You know, and just throw it in here, so it's there. It's like solid state storage would be a fancy way of saying something very silly and normal. And then I'd make some potato herbs, some potatorbs, some cortorbrances. And I've got shovels now. And I've got just enough room to go and do what I want to do. Just enough room to go and do what I want to do. Which is, I want to make a steel axe. And I want to make a steel pick. And I want to make a sword. A swarb. Swarb. And I have water, I have a pickaxe, I have some tools, and some things to work with, some stuff to do. And enough inventory space with which to do it upon. I'm gonna throw some stuff in there. I'm gonna throw some stuff in there. I'm gonna get some stuff in there. Let's do that. Let's just do that. Why not? Let's just get it in there, you know? And then we've got 2 trees to cut down. You know, we've cut those 2 down. You know, we get reap the profits, reap them, you know, reap them up, you know, that's one of the things I could say. Yeah, there we go. I kind of want to call these like moon trees or something, you know. They're kind of neat, and they do kind of feel like they're from the moon. I've got some terrible news. My tea is now room temperature. I forgot to drink it. That always happens to the best of us. The very best and coolest of us all. The absolutely neatest and most amazing of us all forget to drink their tea. It's tragic, really tragic. It's even tragic in a certain sense of the word. That sense being that it's like a tragedy. A tragedy, even, because it's related to tea. It's a clever pun. I could explain it to you if you were dumb, but you're not dumb. You know the score. There's 1 pale oak sapling. Please tell me that's not the only pale oak sapling from this whole endeavor. Please, 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 please. Please, please, no. Please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, no, no. Please, no, please, no, please, no. Please tell me there's more than that. That wasn't that many. Come on, that really wasn't that many. That was like a small number of them. Please, please tell me. I mean, do items fall into powdered snow? I don't actually know. But I kind of have this feeling that maybe they do disappear into powdered snow. I mean, that would be an interesting mechanic, actually, because that is like kind of the main thing that happens with snow. Stuff falls into it, and then you don't have access to that stuff anymore. But, what do we do? No. Search for snow block. Who invented caps lock? We need to find this person. We really need to find this person. We need to find this person. and we need to destroy their life from the very root. Do 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 do. Like, who wants to just capitalize letters? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you only want to capitalize letters? Like, I only want to type in capital letters for like a full sentence. No one has ever said that sentence. Why did they think that was useful enough to put next to shift, which is like legitimately a useful shortcut key? Like, if caps lock could be used as a shortcut for anything else, I guess it probably could be. Maybe I just haven't looked into this enough. Maybe I haven't sufficiently exhausted my options for this whole scenario. I don't know. Anyway, that other tree only replaced itself. So this one's gonna have to do like twice as good if I'm gonna get like more tree per tree, which would be really nice. I would like to start getting like good return on investment for this tile, for this style of tree. But it does seem to be one of those ones that's like famously resistant to replacing itself. You know, one of the rares, one of the rare ones. Oh, well, I see 4 saplings at least. That's 3. That's 4. Okay, well, so it's replaced itself. That's all it's done. Not a single sapling more. Not even 2 saplings more. I could start on a 3rd tree if it was like, oh, a couple more saplings. That'd be nice. A couple more saplings, a couple more baplings. You know, a couple more baplings. Would be good. Would be really helpful. Would really turn things around for me, you know. Oh. Nice. I don't know where those came from. But that's a welcome surprise. Thank you. You know what? I'm gonna say that was my gray alien friend. From the moon. No, I'm just kidding. Gray aliens are, I think, humans from the future? I forget. I don't know. Anyway, put in the comments what you think the origin of gray aliens is, because everybody has like a different theory. You know, everybody has different beliefs about aliens being real. Everybody believes that they are real, for sure. I'm certain of it. That people believe that. Do do do. Do do do. Oh no. Well, that's not what was supposed to happen. That was not supposed to be what was supposed to happen. Come on. Well, and then the peach trees are always like so fecund, you know. Fecund is all fecunding. Totally fecunderific. Am I resentful? I love peach trees, so no. I love that there are like lots of peach tree replacements every time I grow one. And why am I calling them peach trees? One day there will be peach trees in Minecraft. One day there will be apple trees. You know, one day there will be pear trees. You know, what I really want to see is plum trees, because they give this nice like light purple. I think the color is sometimes called wisteria, although wisteria itself is like a really, well, it is that color, but it's like a spreading vine. That would be really cool if there was wisteria, because we only have green vines. We have green vines. We have like, what's the other one? We have a lot of different colors for hanging stuff, I guess. The red from like the crimson. There's like a crimson vine, I think it's called. And that's red. It's pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for a lot of cherry trees here. There's definitely room for a lot of cherry trees out in these hills. You know, out in these California hills. You know, lots of Lamborghinis in my Lamborghini account. Lots of trees in my tree account. I might as well just make a trail down to the water, right? Why not? surprised that's the number I have. I thought I had more, but I think I'm just kind of counting my chickens before they hatch into eggs. I think I'm hatching my chicken eggs before the chickens egg their egginess of it all. You know, I've been on this journey of cavitation and hole. It's been a pretty neat one. And by it, I do mean my entire life. In every episode, I do reminisce upon my entire life. Why do I do this? It does seem like a bit excessive to think about one's entire life every time. But you know what else is there to think about? Really, at the end of the day. Is there anything else to think about? Not really. Not really. Okay, have we got any more saplings? Have they fallen down from the moon trees? Doesn't look like it. But now we have 3 of them, so I think we have pretty good odds of like actually just every time gaining at least a sapling. And that makes me happy. That fills my pants with joy and other things, you know? Mostly joy, but mostly joy. Here, so I think that would grow, that would grow, that would grow. There'd be one there. We'd probably fit one in like here and here, and maybe one more there. And then we could fit one here, we could fit one here, here, here. And then another one here. Oh, definitely here. Right at the corner. Right at the corner. Kobe. Right, and then, you know, I mean, this is going to be a lot. This is going to be a lot of cherry trees. You know, it's going to be a whole little trail of cherry trees. Here's what we're going to do. Watch this. Watch this, Bubsaroo. Did I pick them up? I think I got those. I think I got them. That's all good. Well, now the question is one of vantage point. And I think I know the right vantage point. But let's go and see if there are any dripstones in this area. Because I have a feeling there's some dripstomadoodles over here. I straight up think I see one there. Ah, no. I was just having a silly senior moment. But then again, was I so wrong too?
Thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Share, comment, subscribe. I've got a Patreon. If you feel like throwing me a few dollars every month, really helps keep me going. Even a little bit goes a long way. Remember, no matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, it is always Tuesday. And have a great day.